Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to the month in review for May of 2021. And yeah, this is pretty late. Really, the only excuse I can possibly have is that I just didn't feel like doing a video. And it's not so much like I'm like, oh my god, I'm done. It's just May itself was just very taxing and very exhausting. There was a bunch of changes at work, nothing bad. But like a lot of learning new stuff. Like I'm actually on a specialized team now, so nothing really changes in terms of the day to day. It's just there's new processes to learn. But if anything, I'm enjoying it, which I couldn't say about. I mean, I could say about hospitality, but towards the end, whatever. Plus, outside. Oh, and I am now fully vaccinated, so. With that, obviously the haircut thing, and some other activities too. I actually went out for cocktails as the guitar pick flies away with some coworkers, and as fun as it was, gallivanting outside for the first time in like a year, comfortably, there is still a degree of paranoia behind it. Like I'm vaccinated, you don't know about everybody else, whether you believe in it or not. There's always some degree of uncertainty, and it's just every venue, every bar, every restaurant, whatever, they all have different rules. One of them, you had to take your temperature. The other one wanted to see your vaccination card, and I'm like, whatever. But I don't know. I figure as more time goes on, probably I'll get more comfortable with it. But, that's also where once again, I guess I started to have some difficulty with games. As of right now, I am really not playing much of anything. Like as of this recording, which is June 8th, so I am really late. I'm just playing Super Robot Wars and truthfully, Cross, or Super Robot Wars X. And truthfully, I'm barely even paying attention to it. I have I think 3 missions left to go. Pretty much I got Char. It's no spoiler. I got Char on my team. I got Simon in Gurren Lagann, and I'm about to get the Super Duper Gurren Lagann. I have Amuro Ray once again, and Lelouch V. Britannia. So after that, I'm pretty much done with my team. But I guess in terms of other games I played, I went on this very strange open world kick. I played Mafia: The Definitive Edition, which I had never played when it came out back in the day. Which was around the time when, organized crime dramas like The Sopranos and stuff like that, they were huge. I personally used to watch The Sopranos every Sunday with my mom, and that was one of our traditions when Sex and the City wasn't on. So we had that going for us. But this game, I really enjoyed it. It really reminded me a lot of The Godfather Part 2, in the essence where I'll say it's an unlikely hero who becomes something bigger than himself. And it starts off kind of like a rags to riches story, I'll say, which is nice because there's no huge save the world plot or anything. It's basically he's been in it for several years right after Prohibition, and now he wants out. And the entire lead up to him getting out of it is it's not a spoiler because you pretty much know right from the beginning. The complexity of the missions, the scope of what he's doing within these missions, the ante gets upped up until you can tell he's starting to feel conflicted, which is really, really cool. The voice acting is phenomenal. I don't know if they did any sort of facial motion capture for this because I've never played the original, so I don't know what was up-res and what wasn't. But the acting is phenomenal. It is cinema quality, I'll say. I didn't recognize any of the voices, but you can kind of tell the archetypes. You have your De Niro guy, you have your Pacino guy, and then of course you have to have your what the hell's his name? Joe Pesci guy. They're all there. The Goodfellas are there essentially. There's no Ray Liotta though. And there's no Jelly from Analyze This or That. But it's fun. It was a really fun game, and the one thing that made it tolerable as somebody who really doesn't like playing these sort of open world shoot people games is you can skip all the driving. All the bullshit driving, you can just skip it. And to me, that was a godsend, and it kept me invested in the story because honestly, I could give a rat's ass about driving cross town. Like it did nothing for me. So I finished this game in like I think 11 or 12 hours. When if I did do all the driving, probably would have taken 30. All the chase scenes and stuff you have to do, which are fine, but like the bullshit driving and the exploration, there's really not much in the city, or at least that I saw. So going right from story bit to story bit was like the best way to do it. But I also play Immortals Phoenix Rising, and in a word, this game has no business being as good as it is. It's phenomenal, and if you are into Greek mythology, you're definitely going to enjoy this. Now, it's not so much like God of War at all, because this is actually very comical. It basically takes all that source material and makes fun of it. It doesn't really try to inject you into it. Case in point, the story of Phoenix is narrated by Prometheus, who is strapped to the top of a mountain, and Zeus is basically talking to him, and they just sound like two old Greek men. He comes up, he's like, Prometheus, my favorite person, how are you? And he's like, I don't know, I'm strapped to a mountain, and eagle comes and pecks at my liver once a day. I'm fucking wonderful. It is hysterical. Like, it is literally like my big fat Greek wedding, the entire game. And every character you interact with, whether it's mythological or somebody famous within the mythology, it just pokes fun at itself. Like, it's like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it essentially, of the gods you interact with, they reference things from, the stories and the legends and everything, but they put like a comedic spin on it. It's something you have to experience for yourself. But if you're really not into the poking fun of the mythology thing, you may be turned off by it. If you're just not into the mythology, maybe all this is going to go over your head. I am big into Greek mythology and Norse mythology to start, so for me, this was burst out loud laughing. Especially since they actually incorporated some of the heroes and some of the beasts as, I guess you could say, world bosses. So, in one instance, you get to fight Achilles, and he's kind of dancing around, like, on one foot half the time like this. Which, Achilles tendon, took an arrow to the foot. I think they even say that one point. Goes, he took an arrow to the foot. And it's silly and it's dumb, but I'll tell you, as a breath of fresh air, it definitely did that, and that is something I really needed this month. I also played and finished, I'm not going to go through everything. This is pretty much, I guess, the last of it. Lost Dimension on the Vita. Basically trying to return to that longer form RPG game, because at this point, I've just been playing some other things. Lost Dimension is interesting because it kind of plays off of this whole imposter thing. And it's not like Among Us or anything like that. Basically, it's a strategy RPG, in which case every floor you have to discover who is a traitor on the team and have them eliminated Danganronpa style with a vote to make it to the end. And you can literally get to the end with nothing but traitors or imposters or what have you, and have to fight the final boss with one guy. I was lucky that I only had 2 imposters by the time I got to the end, and the irony was they were like the 2 people I never really used a lot, just because I thought they sucked. So they were completely underleveled and did not have any gear, so it was pretty much a cakewalk. But then the final boss, as JRPG stuff goes, is an absolute bitch. And I basically got lucky in winning. But here's the thing, though. You finish it, and the ending just sucks. It's not interesting at all, unless you get a perfect playthrough, in which case you don't have any traitors by the end of the game. Okay, doable. They are randomized. So you pretty much have to either play the system, play the game, or be really smart and intuitive, because otherwise you're going to have to replay this thing a lot. And I'll be honest with you, the side piece dialogue, which I'm guessing is to help you build trust and, a little bit of backstory with each of the individual characters, is monotonous and boring. I thought Ray Gigant, which admittedly is not a good first-person dungeon crawler, I finished it and was totally invested. This game I finished and I was kind of just literally just pushing buttons and leaving the room while everybody was running around doing all their turns and then coming back doing my turns and leaving. Kind of the way I'm playing Super Robot Wars right now towards the end of the game. And that's where, I almost want to say that's where I kind of am right now with games. I just can't dedicate any mental capacity to it. It's just nothing is clicking. And maybe it could just be because I came off of two what I consider to be powerhouse experiences with these, particularly with Immortals Phoenix Rising and Bibbidi Boppity Boo, what's it called? Mafia Definitive Edition. I did play through and finish Indigo Prophecy. Just briefly, it's a very early David Cage game, and it makes no fucking sense. If you've played Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit, as some folks know it, it is a mess. Nothing flows together. The scenes are broken up. Some people say that's every David Cage game. I enjoy his games, but this, it's like he tried to write 10 movies, only did one scene for each to do like a pitch, and then just smashed them all together, because none of it makes any goddamn sense. And I have the physical version of the European game, because it's unedited, which I did notice if you actually play it on North American PSN, it will change to the edited version. So make sure you toggle it over to a European PSN account before you start playing. I don't know if it's particularly to the PS5, but it freezes, it lags, it glitches. It's an absolute mess. I just do not recommend it. And now I'm getting a phone call. So, man, it's going to rain in, isn't it? All right, there you go. Use my gargantuan forehead to save you. So, I've just not been able to invest in anything. But with Indigo Prophecy, it was so smashed together. It was not clicking at all. I mean, I finished it, and it was one of those things when I finished it, I was like, that was a trip, and it wasn't even a good trip. It was a fucking mess. Here, hang on a sec. Yeah, it was just a fucking mess. I don't even know how to begin. But, that therein brings me to where I am right now with games. As I said, I don't have the attention span and focus again. And it's not because I'm disinterested in games, and it's not because nothing is sticking. This just doesn't want to process anything. So I've actually just taken to watching anime again. So I finished season 2 of ReZero. Tell me, if you want to cry, you got to watch that. And I decided against better judgment to watch the 3 Made in Abyss movies. Now, if you have not seen Made in Abyss, it is a beautiful show on Amazon Prime. It has 3 movies. The first 2 movies basically summarize the 13 episodes. They kind of just combine them and edit them a little bit like they did with the Gundam movies, and condense them into, I think it's like an hour and a half each. Honestly, with 13 episodes, there's not that much filler, so the fact that they actually made competent films out of them, I have no idea, but really good. And the third film, which came out last year in the middle of the pandemic, was released, I think, through H-Dive or High Dive or whatever the hell it's called. And they made a very overpriced Blu-ray collection, which I bought because I want to see this third movie. And every review and everything I've read says, do not watch this movie if you are sad or depressed, because it's heart-wrenching. And against better judgment, I want to watch that movie tonight, even though I'm not really in the best of headspaces, I guess you could say. But when are we? Also start watching Megalobox, which is basically steampunk boxing. I'm letting the Crunchyroll thing just expire, but it was pretty much just because I got sick of all the stupid ads. Interesting show, if you've never seen it. Also a shorter one, like 13 episodes. Pretty much, unknown kid, boxer, somehow fights a champ, and then all of a sudden there's a tournament. Typical anime crap, right? So I watched that, or I started to watch that, and then in between that I've just been watching older movies like I Love You Man. I don't know why. And there was some other movie I watched recently that was equally bad. Oh, Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I don't know. I've just been in such a mood where I just want to goof off. I want some form of easy or lighthearted mental stimulation. But games on the horizon have me interested. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't know when I'm going to play them or if I'm going to play them. It's just like I'm afraid to play them and just not get that level of satisfaction that I'm looking for. Really looking forward to the Yuffie DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Afraid to drop $20 and find out it's only half an hour long, to say the least. So I guess I'll be waiting for reviews. And there's a bunch of new releases coming out. Like I finally bought Nier today because it was on GameFly for $40. So saved some money there. But I don't know. I did finally get on the Xbox One S train. Allegedly, I'm going to be getting one in like a week and a half or something based on that thing. That's really it. Like I said, just I haven't really been in the mood to do much of anything. As it is, I feel like I'm kind of just tossing this together, but I committed to doing a journal, so I'm going to keep it going, as it were. But nothing really happened in May, so to speak, other than Bitcoin crumbling, which is funny. Well, for some people, not for a lot of people. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully June pans out a lot better than May did. But anyway, I've been Alex. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy.